What's going on, everybody? My name is Tenebris Infinite, and that's right, you definitely read that title right. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up a minefield here in Generation Zero. So one of the biggest explosive tools that you get the most use out of in this game are the landmines. And so I thought it would be really cool to go into the landmines, really look at their blast radius and their effectiveness at setting up a minefield. We'll be looking to see if there is a maximum limit of landmines that you can set up in an area, and we'll be also looking at how to effectively set up a minefield in this game that does not go off all at once. So let's just jump into things and start testing things out here. So first things first, let's figure out the effective blast range of the landmines. So we're going to put down a landmine here. We're going to take quite a couple steps over this way. And I believe that this will be a far enough distance in between the two, but we'll gradually kind of work them closer together so that we can figure out the maximum closest range that you can set up landmines. So there you guys go. That didn't wind up setting off the other landmine. So let's move this guy over by about a meter here. Maybe half a meter there. Alright, so we can get them even closer. There you guys go. So there's kind of the maximum closeness that you can have between your landmines. Roughly about, say, 5 meters apart here. Perfect. So now that we've got the range between the landmines figured out, let's see if there is a maximum cap to how many landmines you can place down in a designated location. Now real quick, let's go back and see if our initial landmines are still coming into view here. In which they are. So you're actually able to set up a lot of landmines in this game. I'm gonna grab a few more and see how many more we can fit down. So all in all, we were able to put down 40 landmines in total, which is a lot of landmines. I didn't wind up noticing any of them overwriting themselves or anything like that happened, so I believe that the cap limit for the amount of landmines you can put in a location is a very high cap. And I can't see a situation in which case you're going to need more than 40 landmines because of how much inventory it's going to take up and what you can do with your placement. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go out, we're going to set up a minefield, try to get a combat situation happening, and see if it's effective to actually set up a landmine field here in Generation Zero. Alright, so there we go. A couple hours of testing later, and honestly, I think that the minefield approach actually really works here in Generation Zero. You do need to use up a lot of your inventory in order to set up one of these minefields, but when you do, it's incredibly satisfying just watching the hunters run through all the explosions and just getting absolutely destroyed from it. It's also incredibly effective against the runners and the seekers because they'll all wind up triggering the landmines as well. But after a lot of testing there, it's not entirely effective against tanks. Even though you can manage to get a tank to wander or run into your array of mines, it doesn't quite pack the punch in order to actually take down a tank. You wind up needing like 50 landmines to actually even put a dent into a tank. So this is not exactly the best approach for tanks, as per usual with these traps, and I'm getting kind of nervous, my dudes, that I'm not going to be able to have a trap for tanks ever since they introduced a nerf to the explosives a few months back here in Generation Zero. But it's still incredibly effective for the hunters and for the runners and for the seekers. And if you could set it up decently enough, I think that this would be pretty okay for taking on a harvester even. But with all of that kind of out of the way, with my analysis out of the way, I want to know, do you dudes want to set up landmine fields here in Generation Zero? And would you like to see explosives given just a little bit of a buff, just a tiny buff, to see them be effective against tanks? I know that I personally would. I would really like to see us be able to set up traps for tanks that are not entirely ludicrous to set up and not entirely ludicrous to gather the supplies for. But that's just kind of my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions down below. Hopefully this video was really informative for you guys, so remember to space out your landmines quite a fair bit so that you avoid setting off multiple landmines in one go. But other than that, hopefully you guys enjoy messing around with minefields here in Generation Zero. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.